Hello, and welcome to another episode of We Hate Skill Windows, the podcast or show about hating skill windows. Today, we are reviewing Ordeal, which you can read on Webtoons. Uh, Ordeal is sort of like a power fantasy, but maybe it might just be more of like a sort of shonen adventure, fantasy adventure. Anyhow, I'm Rai,
I'm Chris.
and yeah, let's go into a brief little bit of synopsis and talk about the story so far, without going into too many details, even though we will later. This story starts with Che Hart, I believe is how you would pronounce his name, uh, who's a guy. He fights in his free time, or really as his like day job, night job. Fights like underground matches, and he's human in a world where there are beings called Kimios who have powers, magical powers. Uh, yeah, it's actually pretty similar to like My Hero Academia in that essence. It's just like this is the world. A lot of the people in this world have superpowers. Our main character does not. Therefore, he suffers. That's really a lot of it. But we follow Che as he fights a bunch of people. And at some point, um, he gains powers. And, you gain these powers at the loss of something significant. In this case, he loses his mentor and also his father figure, which is very sad, but you can equate it to sort of like almost expected loss. Like when you watch Gurren Lagann for the first time, ideally this audience is an anime audience we're reaching, but it probably is. Weaves probably exist everywhere, especially if you're reading power fantasies. Uh, you probably expected Kamina to die, right?
I don't know about
Okay, actually, you know what? True, actually true. I did not expect Kamina to die.
that. Oh
But like him die. Mm, huh. Okay. Lesser known, maybe. Bulat in A Coming Got Kill. Did you expect him to die?
maybe a little, yeah.
He gave off more death flags. Kamina gave off no
Mm,
death, arguably no real death flags. I expected not anyone to die. He was just cool,
yeah, just
and
cool,
then he
cool to
dead.
show. That became really serious really quickly.
Yeah, and then Simon had to really grow up real fast. He's like, "Oh, my
Yeah.
bro's dead. Time to become a man." And then proceeded to be a boy for like the rest of the first season anyway. Um, well, never mind. That was a bad example. Maybe. Okay, I can't say that. I was gonna say in Naruto where Kakashi dies, but he doesn't really die early. I'm sorry if anyone out there is watching and they're like, "Oh my god, you just spoiled Naruto for." It's the era of Boruto now. Naruto's old news. Anyway, he just sort of gains powers. Their fire powers is pretty cool, and turns out one of his talent is one of the like four mythical talents of the world or something. Four oldest talents. So we got a
Yeah.
real like My Hero one for all situation going on. Except I believe technically in this world, any power can be transferable. You just have to think of the person.
Yeah.
And you can apparently, arguably, freely transfer power, quite possibly amongst other people. Not fully sure, but we've seen it in some. Not questioning that one either, but um, he gains these flame powers, and he basically has to fight a whole bunch of people who threaten the peace of his world. That's about it. I we'll go and rip into the rest of it. That's probably why you're here, or maybe you're not. Honestly, I will say, Chris, a lot of the people that apparently give us views, they stop around here. They get about like
Well,
4 or 5 minutes into the video. I have seen the watch times. It's about usually 1 minute on like a 50-minute episode. They watch 1 minute in, we're just doing the intros, and they're like, alright, I've seen enough. And they click off. So honestly, I don't think most people even get to the part where we riff on the thing. So let's just go and riff on it early. First point of discussion, maybe. I do want to discuss this. Uh, Rokash,
Yeah.
the first main villain we see. You think he was a
Yeah.
good villain?
Ugh.
Because I heard some things. Now, why did you think he wasn't a good villain? Why weren't you sold that this was the big bad?
I
He was
think.
coded like the big bad, sort of.
Yeah, he was. My big gripe with him was this the entire point of his altercation with Leo Thomas. Like, so this guy walks into this guy's dojo, and then after killing like this guy's disciple, like I don't know, like 20 years ago or something, the master has a poor opinion of this person, and he's like, leave. And then the guy's like, all right, now I have to kill you. I, I just I was hoping like the initial hook of the story wouldn't be so melodramatic. Like, did this man really need to kill Like,
Well, let's be honest, he didn't kill Leo Thomas.
he
Oh.
didn't. This is true, but he was intending to.
Yeah.
He got chaosed, you know. Probably as the author would put it.
No. He definitely got kill secured.
Uh,
Hmm. I mean, so for me, he just he felt sort of like he felt too stereotypical. Man
yeah.
shows up. Hey, you killed my disciple years ago. He was my best student, my best disciple, and then he turned on me and went to the dark side. Very stereotypical in that way, huh? Or like maybe like a Darth Vader story, or literally anyone else, Obito, in Naruto, or anything else. Like, oh, he was
Yeah.
my best disciple. He was the brightest of the brightest, and then he something died, something happened, and he killed someone and
Everybody.
came back seeking vengeance. Why was he even looking for Leo in the first place?
That's what I'm saying. Like he had no reason to kill Leo. He was just he chose woke up and chose violence
He
one day.
actually did wake up and shoot, and Cass woke up and chose a gun.
Right. Also, that's another. So these are like Kimios, and
Hmm.
like they went to war with humans, but they can die to goddamn guns.
Yep,
I,
it's the usual. It's the usual,
like, how is this
BS.
war even that close? But he said it was because he was too old. But we're about to see like Kevin, someone who's like almost as old as Leo is, and apparently he's the number one Chemio. And I'm just like, you just gone. Like that's what took
Well, to be
Leo.
fair, Kevin has surpassed like human flesh. Leo did not surpass human flesh, but also true. It feel what rank was Leo in the god tiers in the
He was
150?
retired.
He was retired. Okay, because I feel like he would have still been like at least 100.
Probably, yeah.
And Rokash was 97. I feel like Leo was at least past Rokash.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's honestly the best question I've asked myself. Why did Rokash even go in to see Leo? Just to like flash his 20-year-old victory in his face, you know?
Yeah.
Why did he do that? There was no
It
reason
was
to.
the entire
The
beginning,
story
I
just
was
forced him to do it, didn't
like,
he?
yeah.
They had to force it on. Because if Rokash didn't kill Leo, nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
And if Rokash didn't, for some reason, have this real feral reaction to Leo's powers transferring to Che, we wouldn't have known.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Are these the plot points you've collected, by the way?
Yeah. There's a couple. There's like chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
He, when
Yeah,
the
what's in
freaking
chapter
master
2?
gets introduced.
Yeah.
The, so they start out by introducing Leo Thomas as everyone's master, and then he starts like by giving the most unconstructive criticism, like in the history of criticism ever. He's like, you fight too much bad. You need to be better, or you'll be no better than a human fighter." And I'm like, this,
I actually do
why?
remember this
Like,
part. I
this, you guys need
do.
a new master.
It
What can I
was
say?
depressingly bad. It was fair. Hold on, let's see. Um, he's sparring with a and he's like, if your talent is speed, being predictable would only mean one thing. You are using it entirely wrong. But you have to forget also, Leo's like top class. This is probably not actually terribly useful to him. I don't know.
Leo, I was just so deeply unimpressed
You'll
by
become as
Leo.
common
Like,
as a
okay,
human fighter. Honestly, human fighters are pretty rare in this world. No, actually, that's not true, probably.
yeah, isn't like Kiwi's are only like 1/3 of the population or something?
Yeah, actually, they're pretty rare. I mean, to be fair, I feel like Azam has sort of been the most neglected member of this group.
Yeah,
He sort of got
didn't
his
even.
thing going now, maybe. Also, what the heck is his power?
He's
Ever
like a
wonder that?
state shift.
Yeah, but it's like Kieran, and he
Yeah,
apparently is like really fast. What's his like glowy eyes and cool hair for?
I think that's his transformation.
Oh, because apparently it was like something really good in the last person that used it, but
Yeah, actually,
he
I think
doesn't
they
do a whole lot with it besides be really fast.
he like 5 point like paralyzes people apparently.
Oh yeah, but that's just called. I was gonna say being a ninja, but that probably doesn't quite work.
Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
oh yeah, and then he bitch slapped Che and was like, "Why don't you have your guard up?"
Oh, okay. There's one thing. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the writing, but I think his humor is pretty good.
Hmm.
And if this story was like comedy, I think it might play to the strengths of the author's skill sets better.
Hmm. Looking at this,
Right?
why did
I
Rokash
enjoyed.
show up? Hmm.
He just walks in, and it's just it's a hard hurdle to pass through as I was reading this. I'm just like like why is he here? What is the plot of the story right now? Rokash walks in. Next day, he ambushes the goddamn master.
Yeah, actually, he like sort of just walks in.
But even then, like the little blurb we get about Rokash is that he literally killed someone, and then the police did nothing. They ruled it as unintentional homicide. That apparently gets you 0 days in prison. I don't know. Why did he get thrown into the goddamn Patmos?
I don't know. Well, maybe he wasn't powerful enough to be thrown into Patmos, but his nephew was. Hmm, as a child. Ooh.
Freaking kill. Oh, okay, that's another thing. Oh my god. So he his like what the author tried to make us his redeeming point was that he was covering for his nephew. He actually cares for his nephew, and that's why he, for some reason, revealed to the world that he was the killer. But literally like 3 chapters or so later, not three, maybe like 5 to 6 chapters
Doesn't
later,
he also like
he
stand over
sees
the body of
a
his nephew and go,
body.
"That's why you're so fucking pathetic"?
Yeah, I'm just like, this man doesn't care.
No, he cares. Just in the same way like Asian parents care about their kids.
uh,
The mental abuse war. I care about you. That's why I want to beat you up. Maybe that was the whole reason. Also, looking at chapter 2, the art got way better. Somehow still. Art was already pretty
whoa.
good. They got better. Like, even better. Wait, also, I didn't realize this until now. The goddamn guy he killed has a forehead protector on.
Oh,
Did you catch that? He,
no.
the guy that Rokash supposedly killed with unintentional homicide wears a forehead protector. Very similar to like Jiraiya.
Oh, like the ninja thing?
Yeah,
Oh, that's kind of funny.
that's pretty funny because see, Chris brought this up when we were talking about this previously, which is that this author really likes to stick anime into this, like references. And I, for one, have not noticed almost anything because I honestly, I just wasn't looking for them. But yeah, apparently there's a lot. So there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the subtle anime references, but sometimes a character straight up just says "Nani." I cringe
yeah.
so hard.
Hmm.
It,
How much do we excuse, right? Technically, some of them are like Japanese or lived in Japan.
that's true. I like so there's a time when a little girl says "sugoi," but she's in Japan, so I'm kind of like, okay. But
You
there's
can
a
excuse
time
that.
in like medieval, like 1500s, when when or not in the 1500s, like the 1940s or something, and they're like fighting somewhere, and Leo is like flame dropping someone, and they're like Nani. I'm like, this is
I feel like what I've understood from this is like 90% of the Kimios in this universe come from Japan, and the rest are from Trinidad and Tobago. That's about it, honestly. Also, for reference, I did look this up. Trinidad's population of Japanese people is not very high. Does not make up a cultural group on Wikipedia. So we can only assume that this is actually just sort of an interpretation by the author, which is cool still. And it does so very well. Like, not to just complain straight up about it. The character designs, and we'll probably get to it as well when we get to our rating section, but the characters are very cool. Unless you want to disagree with me there, Chris.
no, I agree. Characters are really cool. The character
Hmm.
designs.
Character designs, how everyone sort of fits in with everything. I don't know, except for all the Japanese, maybe. But yeah, the abilities feel like unique-ish. You brought up that one of them just has Parasite guy's ability from Parasite, and looking at well, so the difference, Chris, is that this guy doesn't have a parasite in him. He just has
Mm,
the power of a parasite, I guess. But later on he like his own fruits. Oh, I don't actually know if you know that. You know what a zoan fruit is?
uh,
Okay, maybe not. One Piece reference for that fact. Zoan fruit is the one that makes people transform, whereas Paramecia is like abilities. So like Luffy's Gummy Gummy Rubber Fruit is Paramecia because it lets him turn something into rubber, or in fact his body. Or like other people's abilities, like, oh, I've got the power to make the floor slippery and all that stuff. That's like Paramecia because it affects something else. Zoanen are the ones that make things transform, and Logia are the ones that turn your body into something. And then there's like mythical shit, but that's later on. You wanna get to the ratings,
Sure.
or do you wanna keep keep doing your document? You know,
I mean, there's some. I feel like
we'll get
there's some
to it,
really
huh?
funny moments, or there's some funny moments I just want to quickly point out. Like, there's a point where one of the female leads, Andre, talks with like the lead of Cody,
I've just been calling
and
it Andrea in code, but you could be right.
oh, yeah, it's probably Code, honestly.
Oh, we can call it Cody.
And the president's like, or she's like, "Oh, are you just out here unprotected?" And then he's like, "No, everyone out here is my bodyguard." And she looks to a baby, and he's like holding a gun, saying,
Oh
"Yes, he is in
yeah.
contact with the girl."
Yep, that was true.
That was really funny.
I didn't even question it. I was like, oh, it must be a baby Kimio. Like some Kimio with the power of turning into a baby at will. And only a baby. I don't know. That's pretty funny. There were
Yeah.
some funny points in here. A lot more in the beginning. Less as we get to the war.
Yeah.
Sort of feels like Naruto, honestly. You get some like intro villains, and then it's like, alright, now we just got a war. A full on war. But arguably the war is only happening in certain countries right now. I feel like we have yet to see if this is fully like My Hero's world where like the US only appears like once and only does supply one hero. Two if we
Hmm.
count the manga. But that would actually go into spoilers that people might not enjoy. Not that any My Hero fans would surely be watching this. But if you are, go and comment down below or something. Was there any other like funny points you want to point out?
No.
No? Alright. That's the one funny? Alright, let's go. Art score. Well,
Oh my God, it's
you know
a
what
10.
to say. It's a 10, yeah.
So incredibly good. I cannot believe this person draws this in a week, every week.
Yeah,
It's literally insane.
I know he's got help, but this definitely is like huge. I also
Like
just canceled
this
my
is
scores.
this is crazy stuff.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you knew this, but Ordeal did exist on Canvas before it
Oh,
showed up here. Which means not only did shout out to Brent Bristol, who is the author and illustrator. Not only did he make this on Canvas, it also got picked up. And on Canvas, how much did he have it on Canvas for? I'm not sure.
probably season what? Or did he have season 2 on there too?
No, well, so by the time I discovered this, it was probably about like, I would say like 20, 30 chapters in. Up until the Rokash tournament.
Oh yeah.
It's honestly pretty far down the line ish. Wait, no. Well, sort of early, I guess. Sort of early, honestly. But yeah, um it started off with a bang. Now that you think about it, actually, it started off real fast. Looking at the episode numbers, Rokash Tournament's about like episode 10. Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it got picked up, rightfully so. Things got insane art. Uh, Character art is good. They don't miss out on the backgrounds or the like environmental art. Weapons are cool. Powers are quite cool looking. Very cool looking. It also feels like distinctly like Brent's own art style sort of thing. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
super like anime or super western. It's like a feels more western than like Japanese leaning with all the anime references it pulls. It still feels pretty western in like art style, more like comics, but I don't know, it's cooler. A lot cooler. Let's talk story, shall we? Do you wanna take a jab at it or
Well,
uh
my thoughts on the story are
oh you got thoughts. I don't know you do.
complicated. I think I prefer like the general outline of the story like this, where they've got like arcs and the characters are trying to like take actions against an enemy, and there's like a back and forth type deal where stuff is happening, and it's not just like, oh, I generally want to get stronger, so I'm gonna go raid this dungeon. Like, but will say I think it's executed a little bit rushedly. I sometimes I feel like we don't have a lot of like, I don't know, like there's not enough plot really besides the major like, oh, this guy's the enemy, now you have to go fight him. Uh,
Hmm. I see what
like
you
the
mean.
arcs are kind of very straightforward.
You did mention prior to recording that you don't like how it jumps around.
Oh, yeah, I also don't
It's
like
like
how he
something
just
this comic
gets.
does if you haven't read into it. Basically like we'll be starting off on like Che fighting someone. And then the next chapter will just
It'll be
be
like
Andrea
500 years
on
in the
the other side
past.
of the world doing something. And
Oh
then the
no, I
next
don't hate that
chapter
part.
will be wait, what? You don't mind that?
I don't mind when it's switching the point of views in one connected struggle.
Oh, but you don't like the flashbacks?
The prequels. I don't like the
You
random
don't like it
prequels
when
included in.
Napoleon's
We see
army sort of
Napoleon
appeared and
fighting
a
some
shirtless
random
man.
person, yeah, and they're just going ham. Or I I think it could be a really good epilogue. It could be a really good like after story, but it's so disruptive to the plot to have like even Sabito and May's story, which I thought was neat, but
I mean
it was
that's
so
that's their
unnecessary.
parents. That's Che's
Yeah,
parents. You would understand that part at least. Oh, now I'm looking into it by the way. The episode where Napoleon's army and that one shirtless man runs around.
yeah.
uh they're talking about the three ways you can become a Kimio. And it says the first one is talent transfer. Uh, Talent transfer. The individual that possesses talent with enough experience and training may mentally pass this talent onto a specific human. This can only be done moments before death, as the method is immediately fatal.
Yeah.
So, how did Rokash transfer like half of his talent to Cass? How did he do that?
Oh, the Ankh thing? That's a good question.
Cause when they fight Rokash, he's like, "Ah, you fools!" And then he like flies away to reclaim his power. But basically, the gist of it is apparently he gave his like Anu Ankh
Protection.
is his
Yeah.
ability, and part of it is he gets like a bunch of damage. He also sort of gains like sort of what Sukuna. I don't know how to pronounce the JJK guy that everyone sort of like really loves. Has, which is like the power to slice through everything or in anything.
Yeah.
He says it's unblockable, but I really can't tell if it's unblockable.
He stops doing it at some point, which I'm just like,
Yeah,
why? Why
he
are you
also
attacking these
stopped
random
doing it
pillars?
and just started summoning like snakes. I
I'm
don't
just like,
actually understand that part either. It feels sort of like he was coded to die. You know, he was the tutorial
yeah,
boss villain.
it was really hammed in.
Yeah. Also, why would Rokash want to die? That
I
wouldn't help.
okay.
He sort of
There's
felt like
so
he
many
wanted to die,
problems with
right?
Rokash. Yeah,
Rokash
and
felt
it's
like
just
he
like,
wanted to die. Because first of all, he didn't fight with full power. Second of all, he trusted Cass, who was sort of stupid, to do anything. And third of all, he was overpowering the heck out of Shay in the beginning. And then was like, okay, well, now that I'm this pharaoh thing, I'm just gonna summon snakes now.
yeah.
And then promptly lost because he wasted all his chi. But like, why would you? This isn't the talent that you got to number 2097. This is just stupidity.
This is bull. Yeah, it's just garbage attack over and over.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. We were talking about the prequels.
oh yeah. They happen so often. They're never immediately relevant to
No,
anything
they're
that's going
not.
on. They're kind
They'll
of
they'll come
they're
back up
cute.
about like 40 chapters later.
Yeah, and he just kind of drops them in whenever, and it's like some of them are just not
You can
necessary.
sort of
Like the
think about. I
Thanatos.
thought about it like this. I was like, it sort of feels like filler in anime,
Yeah, it
you know,
does.
where it's like, well, I'm not actually done writing the main story. What if I just like created this arc about his parents or about Leo when he was a kid? Why not? I don't know. It's still drawn
I
good
feel
though.
like instead of having like 1 to 2 chapters of filler, like these could be actual stories later down the line of like an epilogue or after story. Like
Hmm.
inserting them in as
Sort of
just
do
like
it like
these.
how Lookism does it, where they just make different series.
Yeah. Or like
Um.
how Noblesse has like the
Oh.
Rise Adventure or something.
Yeah. Yeah. You know how after Noblesse ended it, and so many people complained that they had to change the ending, and give us
Yeah.
more chapters, where it ended slightly better. Yeah, I remember. Or honestly, sort of how like the Boxer. You read the Boxer, right?
I didn't finish it.
Oh. Well, after the Boxer finished, there were like 10 after stories that like followed each of the other characters, which is
Oh.
very nice. That was honestly some of the most like put together endings because they just focused every chapter on a different person, and obviously we all want to know what the heck these people are doing. People care about your characters, you know. That's nice.
Hmm.
What do you give the story though?
I'll give it like a 5.
Ooh, a 5 from Chris. Now, my thoughts. I didn't really pick up on a whole lot of things. Honestly, the main thing that ran through my head as I read through it, um, this is my second read through, by the way. I've been following the series for a while. Um, but reading through it again, the two things that really stuck out to me is one, why is Cass such an idiot? And two, Rokash
That's a bad
like
villain.
nerfed
Yeah,
himself. I don't
sure.
know. I didn't really pick up actually on why he even came to Leo's dojo until like what today. when we were talking about it. But I did feel like he nerfed himself. He also had no real reason to do the whole outburst at the fight at the tournament.
Where he could expose himself.
Uh huh.
Yeah, like he was coasting. He was
He
fine.
was doing good. And if he
Ugh,
knew his end goal was to stop the shadow, why did he even expose himself?
yeah, he's like out like
Kaguya didn't force him to do it. The shadow didn't force
right.
him to do it. He did it because apparently he was too prideful and
But
like full of
I like
himself.
yeah. And later, Cody or Code, they they
Hmm.
acknowledged that he was the last deterrent to Shadow,
Correct.
but
Yes,
they thought
there
it'd
were
be
two
bad PR to
deterrents in
save
the
him.
world: Leo and Rokash. And then
And
when
they let
Leo
him
died, they were
die.
like, "Well, guess
Guess I'm not
Rokash is.
Rokash.
I guess he's fucked." Like they just didn't care.
And they were like, Shadow will end the world. Rokash is the one of
I
the
mean, did you
last
also catch the
deterrents.
part where they were like, "So we've been telling people, what if there was someone like Shadow in the world? Here's what we would do if in that case." But of course, don't worry about it. Shadow's not real. and then and then just goes and says it at some point. Hey guys, so Shadow's real. It's pretty funny. It's like, theoretically speaking, if there was a weapon out there that could just blow up an entire city if we dropped it on someone, well, just floating some ideas out there. What would that? Oh, joke's on you. We have one. It's interesting, is what it is. Did also like the little story bit where apparently Abraham Lincoln was the sun talent wielder.
Yeah,
Do
at
you
some
like that
point.
little
That was
funny
funny.
bit? I
Yeah.
was like, what is this? You know what that reminds me of? Sort of like the One for All thing, but also older than One for All. Did you read or watch? I believe it was called like Kate KO Hitman Reborn.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it has.
You have.
Yeah.
You know how like Tasuna has like the like origin flame or
Time
whatever,
ability.
and
Yeah.
like yeah, it's like the Vongola flame passed down from generations, and there's a point where he like enters his like mind palace, and all the other people are there. I
Yeah.
like that. Because I could have sworn in that scene, there's like one ancestor who just like lifts up a fork and ignites it. That's how I felt seeing Lincoln. It's like, this man does not belong, but here he is anyway. I'll give the story. I like the story. It's a little jank, but I didn't notice it the first time around, and I imagine most people reading it don't notice it either. They just see cool art and they're like, "Ooh, cool art, nice, good story, good, good." I'll give it a 7. I liked it. It's easy reading, is what it is. You just scroll and you look. Ooh, look at the pretty pictures, and you really just no, don't really care about the rest of it. Now we get to characters. And this is really just an excuse for me to rant about Cass, which I feel like needs to happen, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got some complaints, surely. Let's talk about Cass Santiago. Or Santiago. He is the nephew
Yeah.
of Rokash, who is number 97 at the point of death. Number 97 arguably isn't the best. And I'm starting to wonder if the 150 even means anything anymore. But let's
Yeah.
not question that, because we're like currently we're seeing like what, like 1 through 7 lords, but
Yeah.
like Rokash was 97, and they talked about how like all the hands who are like the attendants of the
11 through
lords
20.
are like at
Yeah.
least 150. Oh yeah, 1 through
They're
20,
11, 11 through 20.
11 through
Yeah.
20. Wait, okay, I forgot about that because you know that old lady who's like the Viking
High class.
guy's hand.
Yeah.
At some point, she says like, "This is why I'm part of the top 100" or something. Could have sworn she said that. I was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah.
guess you're not that strong." Actually, how strong could she be though? She's got a support ability. You know what? We don't question it.
Ooh.
There's death flags set up everywhere in this show. There's so many death flags. Cass Santiago is the nephew of Rokash. He has the ability to explode tattoos that he creates, I think.
Yeah.
And so the logic is he just like puts a bunch of tattoos on himself. Now, here's my issue with him. That would be cool if that was all his ability was. Now, not Rokash. Cass says this while fighting some of our Wolfpack members, which is that this is a creation type talent, which is the strongest talent. And therefore, like, you guys can't even compare to me. And then proceeds to just make his tattoos explode. Which feels really disappointing.
Yeah. Only one
Only
of
when
them
he is
actually turns.
pressured. Super pressured. Then somehow he just makes like a
Like
halberd.
100%. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he starts like actually creating energy constructs. And I'm like, wait, if you could have done this before, why didn't you? It's sort of like how Daedra also died, just like making stupid birds and stuff, and then just
Ooh.
refusing to do anything else. Like, I understand that some characters are made to be like prideful and cocky. Cass is like suicidally cocky.
You
He
can
had
like
no
tell him.
right being so cocky.
Uh,
Absolutely no right claiming to be a god tier. No, you're not. Like, we see god tiers and you are not you're not a god tier. You're not even like one, you're not even 200. You're about like maybe you're honestly in my book, he's like an F tier Kimio. It's just wasted. He could have been better. Even the Ashes of My Father's guy, I don't remember his name right now. Hemlock Luis was his name, or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Even that guy, he's got a more creative talent. At least he like makes stuff. The only
Yeah.
thing Cass did was make bombs and also like a big ol', what was it, a dragon?
I don't think it was quite a dragon. I guess maybe it was like a flying, like,
Flying
yeah,
lizard.
something. It's kind of
He sort
warm-like.
of pulled a Datara is the best way I can put it. You know who Datara? You know who Datara is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The bomb
yeah.
hand guy.
He sort of did the same thing, honestly. Where it was like, oh, look at this guy. He's got a really cool power. Oh yeah, by the way, I just sort of turned my power into bombs because I'm unoriginal and sort of depressing. Well, that was the rant. I feel like he's sort of a bad character. He was so cool though. I wanted him to be so much cooler. I wanted Parasite Guy to stick around as well, but apparently it
That's
wasn't
one of
meant
the
to be.
parts of
Oh,
uh,
you got grievances.
Cass's story was one of the things, was one of the inconsistencies I wrote down. How he freaking
Bad storytelling.
he he went he was all subject to go to the Kimio prison for being too dangerous when he was a kid.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, who gave this kid a tattoo?
How?
How did they find out?
More rather, how did this kid? Did the kid like manifest something, and then they were like, "Oh, he's too strong," and then as the kid grew up, the kid just got dumber and just decided, "Oh, my ability is to make things explode." Just like forgot that
Yeah,
he could actually just do anything. Is that what happened?
God. I'm
How did
what
Rokash not go to
qualifies someone to
Patmos?
go to Patmos? They're just like people with dangerous abilities go to Patmos, and I'm just like, there
There
are
are a
some
lot of
people with
people
like
in there.
crazy dangerous abilities out there who are walking around the streets.
the, there are people in Patmos. Uh, After like they do the breakout, Kaguya does some mass teleportation, and half the people do not feel like they should belong.
I'm just like, well, I'm just a bird,
Yeah,
guys.
no, actually, one of them was literally a bird. Yeah,
uh,
yep,
I,
that's
these
the
are supposed to
feeling.
be people who are like dangerous to society.
Hell, even the shark hybrid guy that Che fought in the beginning, that was dangerous to society.
Right? His
How did this
power only
man
activates when
not?
people start bleeding. Like, how is he not
Yeah, he
thrown into
reacts to
prison?
bloodlust. Uh,
I God, what? What qualifies you to get thrown into Patmos?
apparently, being a good moral person, honestly, because most of the people incarcerated are like, oh, well, he was locked up for his own good. Like, he was locked up. He's a god tier, by the way, and we really respect him, but he's locked up because he's chosen to be there. Like, the Oceanos talent guy, like
Oh,
Poseidon guy. It's like, oh yeah,
he's very
we
PTSD.
he locked himself up. You know, he's here for his own good. You,
He has to move the prison around too.
well, yeah, but also I think there was a point where they were like, he can't leave or something
Yeah,
because he feels responsible about the outbreak or something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Also, why'd they put like? Didn't they put? If I'm wrong, I could be wrong. The guard of Patmos, the head guy, horse guy,
yeah,
isn't he human?
yeah. They're all human for some reason.
Why would you put humans in charge of a Kimio prison?
I don't know.
Why
Apparently, they're
would you do that?
genetically modified to be the best version of a human that a human could be.
I don't feel like that's enough.
I
Now,
know. I
let's in talking characters, by the way, let's talk about Inspector Ian. Let's get some praise up here. Inspector Ian, what a badass character.
Ooh,
You know who he is, right?
yeah, the only
Yeah.
human, and he's
The
got
home
the
human guy who also uses the power suit. He's got like a
yeah,
Tony Stark suit on for half the series. And he does stuff that feels more impressive than what Che does for half the series.
yeah. Honest to God,
And I'm sort of confused because they literally just developed this technology like
a
not too long
couple.
ago.
Yeah,
And you're telling me this man has the ability to just like eradicate monster Kimios who already have like strengthened skin and hides,
literally.
and he's just shredding through them. And like Che has trouble and Tevin has trouble? Are you sure? Are you sure Ian doesn't have like a strength type modification? Just a secret Kimio? Oh yeah, by the way,
Mm.
did you catch this contradiction? I know you were looking for contradictions. Sort of contradiction, I would argue. Talent transfer, yeah? The only way other people can blah 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 blah. How then is Tevin able to put his hide on other people? Actually no. Maybe that does make sense, because now we see the berserker hide and it's just a person. At some
Yeah,
point, I guess with training you can like put it on other people.
yeah.
Maybe that actually makes sense. We're not gonna question it too hard. What you give the characters?
Mhm. Usually when I look for character interactions, I look for like how the characters as a as a unit
Hmm.
feel, and
I mean, there's definitely a lot
honestly,
of camaraderie amongst the main characters, the protagonists.
it's kind of awkward because they don't like work together really.
They used to. Now it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, you, come over here and help me. Hey, you, go and do this with the smoke man. You two, you're gonna go to Greenland.
And there's we never we never get the moment when they're not friends. You know, we start out and they're all just friends.
Uh huh.
And you'd think it'd be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or something, where it's kind of like you get to see how cool they work together, or like the basis of why they're like all friends. But they're just kind of like, yeah, we're Master Leo students.
Yeah, that's about it. Even when Andrea or Andrea showed up, she just sort of showed up.
Yeah,
And I feel like
she's like,
Che didn't really know her that well, I feel, right?
yeah, she he doesn't.
She just showed up and like invited herself into the group.
and then time skip 15 years or 2 years, 4 years?
Yep,
Some
time
amount of
skipped.
years,
It did
and
time
then they're
skip,
all
I
like buddy
think.
buddy, and I'm just like,
It was only, I think, a year as well, if I'm not mistaken. It was like short. They did like 2 1-year time skips at some point.
oh,
It just literally cut out all the training and all the bonding as well.
yeah.
I mean, hey, before you could do the score, the character designs are neat. They
I
really
put that
are.
in the art score.
Oh, well,
Ever.
come on. Everyone, we all know we're gonna rate all the art decently, damn it.
I mean, that's just how I see the characters. I'm like, that's good art. That's all. That's the end of the thought.
Oh, you're not out here reading stuff, trying to pay attention to character silhouettes and seeing how recognizable they are, seeing if they're unique enough that if someone looked at like the show, they could just, wow, these are like recognizably cool art style, not just generic man with big sword, man with cool power, you know?
Eh,
No, maybe that's just me. I was always told like you've got to make your stuff unique enough that people could recognize it from like a crowd of other characters. So if you want to
yeah,
make like a character that stands out in a crowd of other things, like well, how would you do that? Honestly, like Rokash in his pure form, Ankh, that thing he stands out. He's cool,
yeah,
very very cool. Even with like silhouette, he's cool looking.
yeah,
But like a lot of other characters, I think this is also partially just like if you look at maybe like DC or Marvel, there's a lot of people that just wear spandex,
yeah.
and that's about it. If you have a silhouette, oh hey, they can like manifest like translucent slime around their hands. Cool. That's about all they have. They're not super unique to look at, I guess. But never mind then. Don't factor it in. What is the pure character score for you? And also,
It's
how were the
like
dynamics? I know you said there weren't many, but how does it end? And like, how did it boil down?
it just falls down to like you kind of just see them being like friendly sometimes, and it's quite, I guess, but it's not really like a driving part of the story, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like usually when you think of like character growth, I'm not really looking for, oh, this person got like this new form, Dragon Ball Z style. Like I'm looking for
Oh.
like
Wait, you wanted to
like
watch Dragon Ball to actually see Goku bond with his kids? Aha, joke's on you, he doesn't.
well, even in Dragon Ball, you see people like Piccolo, like they change, like they physically change. Even like
Yeah, you see
I don't
Piccolo
know, the
being a better dad to
androids.
Gohan than Goku ever was.
Yeah,
Goku
like
being dead
you
half the
see
time, and then
Gohan
even
grow
after he
up.
came back to life, he was still shit dad. Vegeta was a better dad, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you don't really see any of that those types of interactions in this
Well,
story.
yeah, you are right. There's no like, hey, I'm here to join the team. And then there's like, bonding starting from nothing or starting from lesser. Maybe it would have made more sense
It's
if like we actually had the Andrea training Che and the rest of them arc.
or even if we got to see why they all liked Master Leo. Like, there's a point where Che starts crying for Leo, and it's just awkward. Like, like I'm watching him cry, and I'm like, I don't know why you like this guy, but I don't know. I'm just
Oof.
like, it's just
It was his
awkward.
father figure. Literally took him in
I
after his parents went
We
to on
saw him
their
for like
mission.
three chapters max, and then he dies. And
True. This is why I called him a Kamina.
uh, uh, I'm gonna stay there for at least half of season one.
he was there long enough to be remembered and not enough to actually make an impact. It felt.
Leo is literally like a footnote. And then people start crying for him, and it's supposed to be this emotional
Okay,
moment.
well,
I'm
he was also a
just
national hero, or wasn't he?
like,
It's like
what?
when people
None
cry
of
for
that
like Whitney
really
Houston
like.
or like a big name that died. There's a lot of people who, even the Minecraft people. I don't know the names of these people. I'm not actually into Minecraft, but like, or the YouTubers, like people who have passed recently. Well, I mean, a lot of people. Man,
A lot of people have died?
yes.
Holy
A
cow.
lot of them have taken their own life, which is unfortunate.
Oh.
But also, some of them died due to like cancer and other diseases. And I know there was at least one Minecraft. There are a few Minecraft people. I don't know the name of the one I'm thinking of, but it was big enough that like I think most other like major SMP servers and stuff like paid homage to him, and I'm sure plenty of people cried. But honestly, to the people who don't care, it'd be like, oh, this guy died. Why is anyone why does anyone care? In this, I just assumed he was at that status. I assumed Leo was like a 10 million subscriber mukbang streamer or something, you know? I
Like,
assumed people cared about him.
I don't doubt the in-universe explanation. It just seemed like when you put a crying scene like this, I feel like you have to like for it to have
Didn't
impact,
he
you have to
also
really
like
explain to the
this is
user.
when he unlocked like Leo's power fully, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he's basically become Leo. I feel like that's cool.
right become Leo. Anyway,
Wait, what?
just Detroit become Leo.
Detroit
Uh,
become I you,
uh,
I wasn't gonna talk about that. Let's talk about that, alright? Uh the first scene when Leo is like, Rokash, get away, get out of here. How much of Detroit Become Human do you know?
Nothing.
Okay, you just wanted to say it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so Detroit Become Human. The gameplay isn't actually something that matters here. It's the story of Marcus. Uh, so basically, it's about like androids, right? In Detroit.
Yeah.
Marcus is one of these androids. He belongs to this like rich painter guy who also has like an asshole son, and his son is like really horrible and also like they have like strained relationship.
Yeah.
Uh, Marcus is wait, I think is that why I keep hearing the old man's voice when I read this for the first few times? Because I think the kid's name is Leo, his son's name. But anyway, old guy is like painting, and like Leo comes in. I think his name is I don't know. The son comes in, and there's this whole bit where the dad he hasn't seen his son in a while, and the son is sort of being a pain in the ass. But it's also like not enough to do anything, I guess. Basically, the son leaves, and it. Oh god, it's so similar to how it happens here. I literally thought I was like, damn, this is just Detroit Become Human. Basically, like it's akin to how Rokash basically showed up and left. The first time.
Uh,
um the painter guy, he like encounters his son, and his son's like, Dad, I'm just here to get like some money, come on, give me like 5K or something. And his dad's like, no, fuck off. uh and then he leaves, and then the next, or no, the night, like at night, um
the son kills the
no,
father.
so at night his son there. So like as the main as Marcus, you're like the helper android helping the guy. You're like his caretaker, and uh, the old man, like I think his lower body is paralyzed, so he uses like a wheelchair to go around. He's like, what's happening? And he like gets in his wheelchair, and you have to wheel him to like his workshop. And there you find like his son trying to just like I think steal like artwork so he can like sell it for drugs. And the old man is apparently taken so far aback by this that he like falls out of his chair and starts having like a seizure. And then there's this whole part where he's like dying on the floor, and now Marcus has to choose whether or not to save him or beat the shit out of the kid. And usually, because you know you're reading the story and you hate the kid at this point, you just have Marcus choose the option to like beat the shit out of the kid. And then there's this whole scene where he's like, "Marcus, no, stop, Marcus, no." And it makes sense, you know. They're trying to drive a story here, but like it also feels so like hammed or whatever the phrase is. It's just so
Yeah.
forced. I understand that you. Okay, like listen, it's not the first time you. This is why you broke off relationships with your son. You knew he was doing drugs. Why are you so surprised he's back doing drugs? Also, I get that you're old, but also like, eh, basically, there was no real option to have Marcus as the player actually do anything to help the old man.
Oh,
Every option is like coded to force you to break the game's own rules on androids like not doing anything. I don't know. I definitely felt very Detroit Become Human reading this. But we do get to the character score in the end.
it's like a 5.
Dang. Whoops. That's not for me. That's for Chris. A 5. I would like to give it. See, for me, the character silhouettes and all that stuff that I was talking about, that is part of my character score. If they're recognizable and fairly unique feeling, I like them a lot more. For example, I guess like I always bring this up somehow. Super Evolution has some very unappealing characters. Actually, just had the main character, and he was still very unlikable, in my opinion, and sort of like generic feeling. But I feel like everyone here feels pretty cool. Again, I don't know what Azam or Azam does. He's just sort of fast. But I feel like Kieran should do more. But I don't know.
I
He's,
think
he's
we'll
just sort of
explain at
fast.
some point.
Yeah, at some point. And Pong guy just can't transform his talent all the way, otherwise he'll die. Which
Yeah.
feels like not what it should be. You should have just maybe like given the why would you create a talent where going 100% would just kill your user? If you've had quite a while to refine this talent, and you know that he's had different users before, and all of them have died. Like, there's gotta be a way to not have this happen. But you know, he's still pretty cool. Actually, he's not as cool. He's sort of useless in every fight. I don't like this either. He just like turns into monkey like 35%, and then he does like the staff,
Yeah.
and
Why
that's
doesn't
about
he go
it.
to 90% every time?
Right? Why doesn't he just do like what he did at the last fight? Why was he hiding it? It
He's
was
like
like,
teasing you.
oh,
He's like
oh,
35%, 50,
finally,
65.
finally now my friends aren't here to see me. And the guy's like, you're still holding back? He's like, oh yeah, hell yeah, here's my like 90%. Why did he not do this from the
He did
beginning.
90, he did like 65. I don't think we've
He,
seen
yeah,
90
no,
yet.
yeah, he didn't go very high. I was gonna say, did he go like 35% or something? No, I think he's been going 35%.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, he's like Kong 15% or something. It
Yeah,
it's very anime, isn't it? It's very like I'm not gonna show my strongest hand first. Like we'll only do that after the third phase of combat.
I have one of the things I hate of the character dialogue is it always feels so misleading. Like
Yeah.
some like it's like that point where he's like, "Ah, time for me to go all out, 65% power." I'm like, that's not 100.
Oh,
But
that's
there's
pretty
this
funny
point
actually.
where Andrea tells Rokash, "You took everything from me. You took my papa." And then later we see Andrea's dad, and we're like, "What?" And
Well,
then
okay, hold
later,
on. So I'm pretty sure she just called her grandfather Papa.
okay, yeah, but she said you took everything from me,
Yeah.
but only,
Apparently her dad
only
doesn't matter
the.
to her.
I'm just like, I'm just so confused. Like, what? Like, the author really likes putting out these like really grand statements, but they don't. They're not backed up by like the story.
Oof.
It always
Uh,
falls so
I
flat.
I don't like what you're pointing out, but you're pointing out some real valid things there. Oh yeah, here we are. Um they my friends are really far away. Just far enough not to witness this. Beast Chief Kong, 65%.
I'm just like, y'all, you, you're, you really don't understand the gravity of the situation, do you?
Well, clearly, after being beat to an inch of his life and somehow having Kong like suffer huge injuries, it was like, well, 65%. That'll do. These
Yeah.
people must live in constant like 5% exertion of their power. I swear. I don't understand actually. Yeah. They're also like it felt like these were actual opponents that they couldn't win against, and somehow they still didn't go all out. None of them did.
Yeah.
Andrea literally only brought one sword to the banquet. If I was her, I would have brought like all of my swords.
I know, right?
I would have had my Pandora's box literally like camped in a corner, ready to go. And like I don't know. It's very anime, very like shonen type of thing to not showcase full power. Very like, oh well, I'll just fight you with 5% of my power. Oh wait, you're actually beating me? Okay, maybe 10% this time. Like it feels very anime to do, but in a more realistic
Oh, usually
feel, or
when
maybe
they're
just a
anime,
more
they actually
like,
go all out.
well, they always say they do, don't they now? I guess for like Dragon Ball, maybe. Goku like
But even in
perpetually fights
Naruto,
in blue, even though he has God form and like
yeah.
Ultra Instinct and all that. He just goes for it in blue. And then he like keeps Kaioken in the background as like a pocket upgrade. At least for Goku, he definitely doesn't fight at full power. He fights at like 50%. But his 50% is already like higher than most people.
Yeah.
So it's weird. And then you have like Krillin. Yeah, Krillin fights at 100%. He can't not. He cannot afford to
They
fight
get
at
his
like
wife.
50%. He'd get wiped.
Uh,
Every other human fighter in that show fights at 100% for sure. And like the rest of them, like the androids and stuff, they fight at like 50% because they can. Vegeta honestly goes a bit harder than Goku and probably fights at like 70%. But that's apparently because he's like untrained or something. I'll give them a I'll give them an 8. I like them. Uniqueness adds a lot of flavor to this. Rokash was a cooler protagonist than he was a villain. Cast sort of sucked. God damn it. Skill windows check. I'm just gonna type it preemptively. There were no skill windows. There were
That
none.
said,
Oh,
even though there are no skill windows,
yes.
and this not was not at all a video game story,
Uh-huh.
they speak in gamer terms.
Okay, so we talked briefly about this before we started this. Did that really break the immersion for you more?
It did. It really
Really?
did. Every time he's like, "I'm the
Ah.
tank," I'm like, "Okay."
Wait, okay. So like in like video game worlds though, or like even cuz like right? Like reading even like a solo leveling type of ripoff thing. There's quite a few times where I feel like the characters go like the boss is finally nearing low HP or something, or like low health. Like people
I
wouldn't
know
say
when
that
you say low health,
IRL
that
either.
actually makes
Low
sense.
health makes sense. Not like the boss looks really injured. Let's go and attack it more. It's on its last
Actually,
legs.
low health, I admit, is pretty,
Low
you
health, and
know,
now toss me
that
some
language is
medium
pretty
health
bad.
potions, you know? Like, it does still feel gamer esque. And it's also sort of fantasy. Tanker, I mean, that's the thing again. Like, I feel like fantasy universes, they can sort of get away with it. Because I can only assume that people know what a tank is, and people know what, like, DPS and, like, ranged carry would
I think
imply.
it's really about the language of the story. Like, if they started speaking Middle English, I'd be a bit confused too. If they started speaking
Hmm,
like the
that's
fact they
true.
inserted
Let's
gamer
dock some
speak.
points for the fact that Napoleon's guys weren't, like, speaking French. Was Napoleon French?
Yeah.
I think so. Might be wrong. Alright, well, it's getting a gamer speak out of 10. Wait, but actually, though, you think that, like, does detract from it?
I think it's immersion breaking.
Hmm,
It's like when he inserts random Japanese. It's just like, ooh.
damn. That's sort of saddening to hear, actually. Because some of the dialogue I was writing for my own thing is decently gamer speak, but, like, not enough to probably break too much immersion. I was hoping, but maybe it just does. The 7.5, it's it's held up by me pulling it up. If I gave it like fives and sixes, it'd probably be around a 6 point something, like usual.
It's got a 10 in art. That's like
It
impressive
got a
art.
10 in art from both of us. Yeah.
Oh,
Usually you
that's like
give
a
things like
insane.
eights, and I give them tens. Or I go, that's not redice. Get out of here. I
Yeah,
give it
then you give it like
like
a 7. I'm like, dang, this is kind of 7.
Wait, listen, few things have impressed me more than redice, and this is one of them, okay? Okay, we get to the last segment here, and this is called Chris chooses the next thing.
Okay.
What do you want to read? Is it back to Asura time?
Um, I'm already on the Webtoons website. Oh,
Oh. Do you want to do the other one that's on there that we didn't actually look at?
oh, which one?
And by that I mean the one that I originally got it mixed up with and thought was more cringe. Uh, let me find it. Um, hold on. It's like, yeah, Murim RPG simulation.
I just got an ad for that. I was
Did you?
wondering if that was what we read, but
No, it's not. I thought Infinite Leveling Murim was that. This is the one I feel like I remember it being just decently cringe. But honestly, a lot of these are sort of cringe. Is it really? Is it time to like review something
Shaggy.
fun? Lone Spellcaster time.
Oh,
No, maybe not. Did we do
fun.
here Player of Tutorial Tower? No, I think we swore not to do that one or something.
Did we really?
I feel like we talked about how it was bad. Did we? It is on Webtoons.
I don't. I would. I've read a couple chapters. It's like,
I'd prefer not to read through this whole thing again, but we could. I don't know why I'm nominating it. I would prefer not to, honestly.
okay.
It's it's in my opinion the whole series like my 30 out of 30 would be like or 10 out of 10 rather. My scoring for this personally would probably be like a 5 or a 4. In my opinion, it's not good. Well, Spellcaster really is here. It's
Oh my
still
god.
here.
I just saw something extremely cursed.
Oh, are we reading
About
it?
I no, I'm just well,
What's the name?
I'll just send you an image and see
Oh,
what doesn't look right.
oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yes. Are you talking about by chance the one with the thriller tag?
Yes.
The
I
one that looks like
I I
AI
ju
generated or something?
I jump scared myself. I can't even look at the screenshot anymore. Horrifying.
Ooh. Yeah?
Uh,
You want to read that and we just start reviewing webtoons in general?
if we rated Spirit Thinkers, that would get that would be a guaranteed way to get me to throw out the big numbers.
You wouldn't throw out the big numbers because this would get more views and probably be more relevant this way? Because arguably we could just review Marry My Husband, couldn't we?
I don't I don't know why I super liked it, but it was interesting.
It is a power fantasy, taking or no, it's a not
Yeah.
a power fantasy, it's a regression.
I mean, it felt like a power
It
fantasy.
sort of did. Honestly, knowing the
It
future
had,
feels like a power fantasy. Let's just be
yeah,
honest. Anything where you regress and sort of know the future, you're power.
yeah.
I was gonna suggest something, but do we want to read that or do we want to save this for some reason and just not review it? Teenage Mercenary. That's a power fantasy.
Oh,
It really is. It's like super hardcore though. A lot of killing in the show.
there's a lot of crashing and killing an ordeal.
Well, you know, sometimes when the people you're killing don't look human, it feels less bad, you know?
Oh yeah.
You're beating up like a
uh,
Triceratops. It feels less bad when you're just watching people get killed. I mean, a lot of these we have reviewed. There's Surviving the Game as a Barbarian. I have read that one. It's sort of it's not the greatest. The Lone Necromancer. Oh, we could review that. That's also. Oh, I did not like this one. I really didn't. If I recall correctly, this is the one where his like classmate gets a power. Just like picked the shit skill card or something.
oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
we talked about it, but I don't think we reviewed it. We haven't gone on webtoons besides Solo Leveling, Omniscient Reader, Tower of God.
Solo is not on Webtoons.
Hmm?
Solo
Oh,
leveling
Solo
is not
Leveling is
on.
not on webtoons. It's not. You're right. You're right. You know, don't know what I'm about. And then there's just a lot of ones that we have read, but it's like on webtoons as well.
Yeah,
And those
email
we could
decay.
read plus 99 reinforced wooden stick. It's
I'm a
comedy.
bit curious about that. I've read a couple of the
It's
chapters in
very
the past.
comedy.
Yeah.
There is Return to Player. That one's decent. Hard to follow. A lot here.
return to players 133 chapters.
Okay, yeah, that's the. I'm looking at these as well. 99 reinforced wooden stick is even 77 chapters.
Oh, that sounds normal actually. I
That sounds
wouldn't do that.
doable compared to everything else.
Let's do 99 reinforced one stack.
No, Chris, come on. The Lone Spellcaster is only 108 chapters.
Oh, I'm gonna wait out for it to be like 200 and then we never have to review it because it's too interesting.
No. At some point, if anyone is listening to this at this point, I want to get to a point where we could actually sit down and review Dice. DICE. I want to do it. It's not really a power fantasy, but I just want to review that shit show.
Wait,
We
Dice is
can
a power
spend like
fantasy.
four episodes on this thing.
Uh,
It's worth it for my own amusement and to have you suffer with me.
oh my
That's your
God.
selection though? You want to do 99?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. 99 plus 99 reinforced wooden stick. That's a long title. I'm not writing that out. Just copy pasted. Oh yeah. Ever since I've discovered that you can control shift V, life has been better.
Oh,
Like
what
you
does
know how you can
copy
like
do?
if you control shift V, you like copy and paste something, or well, control C is copy. But if you control shift V, it pastes the thing without any of the formatting it had before.
Formatting?
It's a lot better,
Oh,
especially if you're just like copy pasting something onto Excel, but you don't want to like have all the formatting come with it, the background color or whatever other font.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it's nice. But anyway, if you've reached this point in the video, why don't you just go and like give us some comments or something? Tell us what you want us to see next. Maybe if there's enough people. Realistically speaking, you know, Chris, knowing how people do not seem to discover these videos, how many comments do you think would need to be had for you to consider a lone spellcaster?
maybe just one.
Just one. Listen, the bar is low, guys. If we get one comment that says, I want you guys to review the lone spellcaster, then we'll review the lone spellcaster. Perfect. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.